rewrite it, you guys, I can leave that up on the board too. It's like that. It's like going back and forth between this way and this other way. Radical, expression, and rational. And it can go back and forth. So I wrote 3x to the 1/4 power. So how do you write that the other way in the radical form? Yeah, 4 and then the root thing, the box thing. That's right. Good job. So you got to remember that the bottom number of the fraction goes in the front of the radical box. And then you can put a 3x in here. And then the top number of the fraction was a 1. You could write a 1 out here. You don't really have to if it's 1. If something's to the first power, you don't really have to write a 1. That would be the answer. See, that's rewritten. That's good. So these aren't all like super difficult. Rewriting them shouldn't be that hard to go back and forth and rewrite them different ways. Okay, let's do another one. Let's say I had like 5. Okay, I'll do 5x. And then this time I'll put it in one of these boxes. And then I'll go like this. Okay, so there's a 5x inside the box. And then I put a 3 in front and a 2 out here at the end. So how do you rewrite the thing? 5x. Yeah, you could put parentheses around it. Good job. So she said 2/3. See, she said 2/3. So see, the n number goes on the top of the fraction, and the number in front's the bottom number of the fraction. So you just got to get that clear in your head, get that so you do it the right way. So rewriting's not too bad. Then there's evaluate ones. Evaluate means to like solve it, solve something, try to see what the answer is when it says evaluate. So let's see. What if I gave you... Okay, some of them also, like when you do your homework today, they'll say round the answer to 2 decimal places when appropriate. Like when you need to, if it's not a whole number. It says when appropriate. That means like if you have to. If the answer's 5, you don't have decimals, obviously. Okay, so let's say you had to do 92 to the 1/5 power. If it says evaluate it, guys, you can grab a calculator and try to do it. And knowing like which keys to push on your calculator is kind of the important thing. You literally just type 92, and then you have to type this up arrow key to do powers. I'll try to like put a red box like that. This is like a calculator key, the up arrow. And then you can type in the fraction. You can use a fraction key like 1, and then hit that ABC key on the calculator. Because the ABC key helps you like type fractions. You can type in 1, ABC, then 5. That's the calculator keys you would all push. 92, then the up arrow, 1, ABC, 5. Just to try to help you, because some people are like, what do I push on my calculator? 92 to the 1/5 power. So it'd be like this. I'll turn this slide on. It'd be looking like that when you type it in. So I got 2.47. See, so you don't always get a nice answer. You can get decimals. Let's try, how do you type in this? And then I'll put in like 1, 5, 6, 2. So I put a 6 in front of this root, 15,625. That's called the sixth root. There's a key on the calculator to do these different roots. It's not a square root, it's a sixth root. So you're going to type in the number 6. I'll try to help you with the calculator keys. Then it's not a square root. I know you guys have seen square root before. Let's see if this will focus in. Okay, it's not the square root one, it's the one above that. See in light blue? It's above the square root key. You have to hit second and this up arrow key to get the root. Like 6, second, power key. Oops, here, let's focus it again. It has to look like this, sixth root. It has 6 and then this X outside the root. So I had to hit 6, and then I had to hit the second key on the calculator, and then the up arrow key, because that gives me the sixth root. Okay, so then it looks like 6x root like that on the calculator. And then you can type in the number 15,625. Then you can type 15,625 and get the answer. So see, it looks like once you get used to the keys, it's not too bad to find it. 15,625. So it's the power key, but it's second and then the power key to get the root. See, look at that. The sixth root of 15,625. It's just 5. The answer is 5. You just have to find the right keys on the calculator to help you do these things. Okay. Let's see, that was number 11 on here. Okay, let's try another one. Another thing you guys should know about, and I think a lot of you already do, but just to remind you again, if it doesn't have a number in front, remember it's just called like a square root. I want to remind you of something. The square root of 81, if they tell you to solve, solve something like square root of 81. So remember, if it doesn't have a number in the front, it is a 2. This one's called a square root. If you have an even number here, a square root, that's like an even power, an even number. That's an even root. Okay, so we've talked about this before, but it comes up again in this lesson. Okay, so what's the square root of 81? Most of you guys know. That's 9. So doesn't that mean 9 times 9 makes 81? Okay, so there's actually another answer to this. Actually, another answer to this is negative 9. Doesn't negative 9 times negative 9 also make 81? So when you have an even root right here, you're really supposed to put that the answer is plus or minus. When you get an even root here, an even number, an even root, you're supposed to put plus or minus. So when you're solving equations, you're supposed to get 2 answers sometimes. Because really, technically, negative 9 times negative 9 makes 81. So does positive 9 times positive 9. That also makes 81. So if you get some equations in the assignment and you're clicking on the answers, some of them have 2 answers. Some of them are plus and minus. So it's when you have an even root here. So if you did another one like the 4th root of 256. See if there's an even number right here. See if it's even. I just got to try to remind you if it's an even root number. So we could figure out the 4th root of 256 with the calculator. You can type 4 and then second and the power key to get the 4th root. So it looks like that with 4 with a little X box. You can do the 4th root of 256 on your calculator pretty easily. You know what you get? Yep, it comes out to 4. But you're going to have to remember when you click the answers on your assignment to click plus and minus 4. Like one answer is positive 4 and one answer is negative 4. So that's the thing. When there's an even root, you're going to have to remember plus or minus. Okay, so let's try another one. See if it says solve. These ones that say solve. So let's try another one that has x minus 6 squared equals 40. Like little equations you're going to get on some of these on the assignment. Okay, so the reason these things are in the same lesson, like the radicals and those rational expressions, it's kind of like they're, how do I want to say it? Like the opposite of squaring something is square root. And the opposite of taking something to the third power is doing the third root. It's because you can, like the opposite of add is subtract, and opposite of multiply is divide. Opposite of squaring something is square root. Opposite of something to the third power is the third root. So these are in the same lesson because you can use them to solve. So this whole parenthesis thing has x minus 6 in it. And this whole thing's to the second power. So if you're going to solve something, you have to do the opposite. So to get rid of this second power right here in the problem, you're going to have to take the square root of both sides to solve it. Because the square root cancels the 2 that's right there. Like I was saying, square root is the opposite of squaring something. So you take the square root to cancel the second power thing. Okay, so that's the rule. You take the square root, the root cancels the power. So then you have x minus 6 Okay, what's the square root of 40? So we need our calculator. What's the square root of 40? Well, a square root is an even root, like I was trying to remind you of, so we're actually supposed to put plus or minus for the answer. What's the square root of 40? Well, it doesn't come out nice. That's okay, though. The assignment's going to say round to 2 decimal places. Yeah, so we'll just say 6.32. And then it's still not done. You're trying to solve it all the way, so you got to add 6. Now, you have to add 6. So you have to take 6.32 plus 6, and you have to do negative 6.32 plus 6. Because the plus and minus thing. This plus and minus thing, you have to do 1 plus, one's positive 6.32 and one of them's negative 6.32. So if you add 6, you're going to get 2 answers. 6.32 plus 6, that'd be 12.32. And what's negative 6.32 plus 6? Negative 0.32. So see, you get 2 answers, 12.32 and negative 0.32. Let's try one more. Oh, here, hang on. Let me check something. Okay. Sometimes, and we ran into this last week, sometimes you get these problems to solve, to evaluate or solve. Okay, so let's say we had negative 125 to the 5/3 power. I go to grab my calculator and I try to type it in. They have parentheses around it, so parentheses negative 125, like that, to the 5/3 power. 5/3. 5/3 power, like that. I use my fraction key, 5 ABC3. Okay, so I want to go over this again. You grab your calculator, you try to type it in, you hit enter, and it says domain error. And you're like, great. Now what? Because you tried to type it in, my calculator's not working. It's not working. Okay, if your calculator says this domain error, it's like you have to split this up. You have to take this negative 125 and first just do the 1/3 power to it. Instead of 5/3, just do 1/3 power. And then get an answer for that, and then whatever your answer is, then do the 5th power. We went over that last week, but it's worth going over again because you're going to run into some of these again today, where you're going to try to do your calculator and the calculator doesn't even work. You're like, oh great, well that didn't work, so I got to try something else. So you split it up. Just do the bottom part first, like the 1/3 power first, because then it should work for you. So see, just look at the bottom number first and do this 1/3 power first. Okay, so let's retry it. Take negative 125 to the 1/3 power. See, I'm just going to do this part first. So I do that, and I got negative 5. Now take negative 5 now do the 5th power, the top part. So it's like splitting it up and doing it step by step. Now take negative 5 to the 5th, and then it comes out negative 3,125. Then that's the answer. So see, I had to do it in steps, 2 steps, instead of all at once, because it didn't like it when I did it all at once. Okay, last one. Let's say you had x plus 7 to the 3rd power equals negative 1,000. Let's try to solve this one. Last one, and then you guys can work on your assignment on this stuff. Okay, so what do you think? What do you have to do first? Well, we're trying to solve for this x. We're trying to solve it. But this x is in this parentheses here. Any of you have an idea of what we should do first? We kind of already did one like this right down here a minute ago. We did one like this. Kind of did one like it, similar. You know what we're going to do? Yeah, you have to do a root to get rid of this 3 right here. So what kind of root do we do? Yeah, we do a 3rd root, because that's 3rd power. So you do a cubed root, they call it. You do the cubed root. That gets rid of the 3rd power. Good job. So that cancels this box thing, it cancels the little 3. So we got x plus 7. Okay, so we need to figure out what the cubed root of negative 1,000 is. So to do cubed root, you have to type 3 first, then 2nd, then the power key, the up arrow key. 2nd, then the up arrow key to get the 3rd root. 3rd root of negative 1,000. So you just type it in. Okay, that's negative 10. Okay, do I have to do the plus or minus thing this time? I did it on the other problem. How come? This is not an even one. Yeah, this is not like a 2 or a 4. So you just, yeah, it's not a plus or minus one. That's why I wanted to do this one. Yeah, so if you're doing an even, like a square root or a 4th root, then you have to do this plus or minus thing. But if it's not even, then you just do whatever, it was just -10, that's it. It's just -10. Okay, then you minus 7, the answer is -17. That'd be the answer. See, because I just had to minus 7 and then I'm done. So those are the kind of problems you're going to be doing, you guys. They're just different roots and these different powers with fractions. And the assignment's on the computer. It's on the Big Ideas Math website.